Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for, well, let me explain something first. I saw two movies today, and I saw a double feature today, which I actually haven't done in, like, a long time. I think the last time I did it was for, like, Speed Racer and Iron Man, like, back in 2008, so I don't remember how old I was, but, you know, that was the last time I did a double feature, that was the last time I did a double feature movie, so, you know, that was the last time I did it, and, I saw this movie first, and the movie I'm gonna review, the movie I'm gonna review in this review is Godzilla, and, the other movie I reviewed, I'm going to review afterwards, so this is gonna be my review for Godzilla. So, let me explain Godzilla. I did not know pretty much anything about Godzilla, I really did not. I knew that it was a famous monster, I knew there were movies about Godzilla, I knew that, like, there were a bunch of, like, famous, old Godzilla movies, but then I knew that there was the one from 1999 that nobody likes, it's a piece of shit apparently, and everybody wants to just forget about that movie at all costs. All I knew about this movie was that it had Godzilla and that it came out in the summer. And also the cast, Bryan Cranston was in there, Walter White himself, you got a lot of great people in there. So obviously I was looking forward to this movie. I was hoping it would be really, really good because, I heard it was good. And overall, my thoughts on Godzilla, this movie was honestly okay. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. It was not as good as I wanted it to be. I'm going to say that right now. It was not as good as I wanted it to be. Was it horrible? No. No, not at all. It was not horrible. It was actually really good. There were some really good scenes in the movie. However, comparing it to the second movie I saw, which you guys will see that review after this movie was not as good. And I think that's probably the reason why I didn't like it as much, was just because it wasn't as good as the other movie I saw, which I will get to that in the next review. But let's get to Godzilla. Basically, the main plot of Godzilla is it takes place after there's been this nuclear bomb test in 1954, which did happen in real life. But basically, we go into 1999 and we see these scientists basically, and there's like this big attack that happened in Japan or whatever, and basically, we see Bryan Cranston, who we think is going to be the main character of the movie. His character is Brody. He sends his wife, Sandra, who's played by Juliette Binoche, and a team into the core to basically check the sensors to see what's going on, because they saw this strip mine where there's a colossal skeleton, 2 egg-shaped pods that have been discovered. So, they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Unfortunately, though, the character of Bryan Cranston ends up losing his wife because there's a lot of radiation, so they have to wear, like, these helmets. His wife takes her helmet off to sacrifice herself, and she ends up dying. So, then we go to the present, and we see his son, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, yes, Kick-Ass himself. His son is now living, he has a wife, he has a kid, and he is now in the military, and the military, they're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with these monsters. They don't know, what's going on and everything like that. I kind of find it funny that the beginning of this movie is in 1999, because that's when the other movie came out that nobody likes. But basically, we see him in military and everything. They're trying to hunt Godzilla, the animal that was awakened during a deep sea expedition in 1954, and they're just trying to hunt Godzilla and figure out what exactly is going on. So that's basically the plot of Godzilla. And honestly, the plot of Godzilla is good, but the problem with this movie is that there's not too much of a plot with it. Yes, there is a plot, and there is something that happens, and I'll get to that in the spoilers. And I'll get to the acting as well. But for me, this movie was more of a disaster movie than it was a plot movie. Like, there's tons of action in it, which is great, but there's not a lot of... The one thing I will say is that if you're looking for a lot of Godzilla in this movie, this is not the movie to see, because this movie focuses, for the first half of the movie, it focuses a lot on the humans. It focuses on how the humans are going to find Godzilla, how the humans are going to find all these monsters and take them down, what they're going to do with these monsters, things like that. They're trying to figure out what's going to happen there with these monsters, and that's basically what they're trying to do. So, you got that whole thing going on. But you also have, you eventually do see these characters called the Bugs, which are basically even worse than Godzilla. They're evil characters, where Godzilla in this movie is actually the good guy. You're rooting for Godzilla. You're rooting for the humans too, but Godzilla's the guy that is trying to take out these... Godzilla's the creature, the dinosaur that's trying to take out these bugs. So, you know, that was definitely pretty cool to see. And there are some really good parts about this movie, which I will get to. But now, let's get to the acting in this movie. Overall, the acting in this movie, there wasn't anything too huge in this movie with the acting. I will say, the highlight of this movie is Bryan Cranston. He really is the highlight. He's only in this movie for 30 minutes. But he was the best part in this movie. I don't know why, but I feel like Bryan Cranston was the best part in this movie. He really was fantastic. I loved his acting in the movie. He's in the movie, as I said, for only 30 minutes. But every scene he was in, I loved his scenes. I loved all the scenes he was in. The scene where he was, like, crying about his wife was so sad earlier in the movie. He's just like, I lost my wife to this radiation. It's really, really sad. And I just thought that was a really, really big scene. And I loved his acting in the movie. Aaron Taylor-Johnson, I know Aaron Taylor-Johnson from Kick-Ass. He does a great job in those movies. This movie, he was just average. I didn't see anything too big with his acting. I liked his acting. He definitely had some really good scenes, but he was just okay in this movie, in my opinion. I thought he was good. His wife, though, Elizabeth Olsen, I thought she was great. She was fantastic, because we actually do have a little subplot with Elizabeth Olsen and his son. He has basically, you know, he has to go away from his wife and kid, and she has to take care of, you know, his son, their son, all on her own. So, you got a lot of scene with her and the son, which I actually like that they did that. I like that they did have a lot of things going on in this movie. That's one of the things I really did like, you know. There could be a scene where you'd see the monster, but then you'd see a scene where you'd see his wife and his son watching it on TV, and I thought that was a pretty well... I like that. I like the way they did that. That was pretty well done, the way they did that. I enjoyed that overall with this movie. I enjoyed that. So that was pretty... That was a pretty good thing. And also, we'll get to the monsters in a second, but, you know, overall, the acting overall was... It was just good. It wasn't anything amazing. It was good, but I just thought the acting was just okay. So, now we'll get into the spoilers for this movie. So, if you have not seen Godzilla, I'm going to talk about a few spoilers. There's nothing too big in this movie, except for the beginning of the movie. I feel like the biggest spoiler you could give in this movie is, like, in the first, 30 minutes of this movie. So, if you don't want to know what happened in the first 30 minutes of this movie, don't watch the rest of this review. After you've seen Godzilla, come back and watch this review. Alright, so... The biggest thing, I think, was, you know, the whole thing with Bryan Cranston dying. I heard that Bryan Cranston was not in the movie for that long. But I thought he was actually going to die when he was first introduced. I thought he was going to die in that one scene. And then when he died, I was really upset, because I'm like, you just killed off my favorite character in this movie. I'm loving his character. Why the hell did you just kill him off? And, you know, that one scene was just really, really sad. When he died, I thought that was definitely a really well-done scene, but I was upset because they killed off they always end up killing Bryan Cranston. First you kill off Walter White, and then you kill off Bryan Cranston in Godzilla. Come on, people, Bryan Cranston is awesome. Why'd you have to kill him off? I mean, seriously. He's a great actor, and I thought he did a great job in this movie, but I was kind of upset that they killed him off, because I liked his acting in this movie. I thought he did a pretty good job. Also, the scene where, the very last scene with Godzilla, I thought that was awesome. When Godzilla was, like, beating up that one bug and, like, taking it out, you could see that Godzilla was pissed off at all those bugs, and he was actually helping out the humans. I was surprised. I thought Godzilla was going to be, like, the big villain of this movie, but it turned out that Godzilla was actually helping out the humans. I liked that. I thought that was good that Godzilla was helping out the humans. I was like, an interesting twist. I kind of like that, because I always thought Godzilla was, like, the big, bad, kind of, like, villain in this, of the movie. Kind of like King Kong, almost. But that's not what Godzilla was like in this movie. He actually was helping out the humans, which I liked. I liked that he did that overall. I thought that was fun. And then the ending scene where Godzilla went into the water, I thought that was good. But I was expecting a bigger post-credit scene from this movie, and I did not get that. But apparently there is going to be a sequel to this movie. So... I don't know, we'll have to see, but I think there probably is going to be a sequel to this movie, just because they already confirmed that there's going to be, so we'll have to see what happens there. But overall, you know, also I will say the effects in this movie this is the best part, they are the best. The effects in this movie are probably the best part of this movie. I thought the effects were amazing in this movie. I thought the creatures looked amazing. Godzilla holy shit, he looked amazing in this movie. He was so amazing in this movie. I mean, seriously, Godzilla looked great. Probably the best Godzilla has ever looked, probably. He just looked so real, and it literally looked like Godzilla was a real creature in this movie. He looked amazing, and I thought all the creatures looked great in this movie. Godzilla and the bugs, they all look great in my opinion. I thought the effects, as I said, were the best part of this movie. I thought they looked great, personally. I thought that was great. But overall, as I said, Godzilla was average. It wasn't amazing. I feel like if Bryan Cranston would have been in the movie longer, it could have been really, really good. If the movie would have been Bryan Cranston and his son trying to find out what's going on, I would have enjoyed that more. But because they killed off Bryan Cranston, that kind of made me, I will admit, I almost fell asleep halfway through this movie because the second half was a little slow. Was it the worst movie of the year? No, that's not the worst movie of the year. The worst movie of the year, probably so far, is Devil's Due, even though I have not seen it. I know it's awful, because I just heard it's awful. But, you know, I think this movie, overall, it was a good summer movie. I really did enjoy this movie. It definitely was a really good summer movie. It was not as good as the second movie I saw, but it was overall pretty good. Yes, I would recommend it. But I will say that if you're looking for a really good, like, movie with a lot of character-driven moments throughout it, and a lot of really good... I will say there was one thing I forgot to say. That scene where Aaron Taylor Johnson was helping out that little boy, I enjoyed that overall. I kind of like their dynamic there. I like things like that. But if you're looking for a movie with a lot of action, then this is the one to see. But I will say, pretty much the second half of this movie is action sequence after action sequence after action sequence. That's the only problem I really have with the movie, was the first half was very, like, slow-paced and a lot of character-driven moments. And the second half had a lot of, like, attacks and stuff like that, which is fine. But the movie had kind of like a shift in tone problem, which I honestly had a problem with because it was a really big shift in tone, and I did not like that at first. It felt like it was trying to be either two different movies, but overall, I did enjoy this movie. I do recommend you see it. That's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it, and my next review will be for the second movie I saw, which you guys will see what that movie is after I upload it. So, I will see you guys in my next review. Okay, bye.